You know what?
I do not know.
You should know what, because we're number one.
What?
I always felt like number one, but now in a whole nother thing, we're number one. We cracked the top 10 in all of America and number one in Washington for basically the most amazing city. I think that's how you should say it.
The most amazing city.
All right, so what does that mean?
Well, we are going to let you know exactly what that means. But first,
We're Joe and Charity. We're local realtors, and we help people just like you every week who are making decisions about relocating or moving to Pacific Northwest.
so if you are thinking about relocating here and you are wondering why is Olympia ranked so highly, we have done all the research for you. So listen up. Here we go.
All right, so let's get into the details. What is this report that we've been ranked so high on?
This report is the annual report from the Milken Institute, and they are highly regarded. So it's not just some little mamby-pamby report. And this organization ranks cities on wage growth, job opportunity, and high-tech GDP growth. So those are some really important factors that we've been ranked on.
Yeah, some important metrics. And so let's look at each one of those and about how that would impact you if you're considering moving here. So I'm gonna start with the first one. To me, that was a little bit of just mind-blowing. Like, we're really good at high tech. That's not what you normally think about, because you're thinking about Seattle, or you're thinking about Redmond, or you're thinking about Bellevue, Microsoft, any of those like little small companies that probably very few people have heard about. So what's going on here in Olympia that's like making a dent, or at least scratching the surface?
Surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because I think probably no one else here in Olympia or Tumwater would even think of this.
Yeah.
But we had the fastest growing high-tech increase from 2018 to 2023, 111% increase. Wow.
That's all I'm saying is like we're moving up the food chain ladder of high tech, which is pretty cool because, like Charity's saying, this is not something that really is known a lot, but it's a big deal, and intentional effort's been going in to cultivate this in our region. So that's a pretty cool thing, especially if you're in that industry and you're thinking, oh, maybe there's got to be a good job for me. Oh, maybe there is. You're going to want to take a look.
Specifically, this high-tech growth has come in computer systems design, software programming, and data processing. So obviously there is a lot more high-tech things out there, but we've had such significant growth in this area that it's ranked us up at the very top of all of the cities.
And just in the last year, we went up 34 spots. That means we're just making strides and everybody else is falling way behind. So, you know, you don't want to be with the other people that are falling behind. You want to be out in front. You know, that's why.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Strides, that's right.
The second reason they ranked us so highly is because of jobs. And very specific metric I think is important to you is we've actually gone up 9.6% in wage growth just this past year. So that is a big number. See, actually your buying power goes further, obviously. That's a big deal when it comes to home prices, and we'll get to that here in a little bit.
Yeah, who else isn't going to raise their hand for a 10% raise?
I'd raise my hand for 10%
raise.
Shoot, I'd go for 5.
From 2018 to 2023, we had a 24.3% increase in professional and business services sector. That is like a lot. A quarter of 100, almost 25%. In case you didn't know the math, that's a lot.
On top of that, Olympia being the state's capital employs about 33% of people who live in Olympia. I think you're pretty familiar with that, being government jobs in a capital city. However, it's good for you to know because that actually stabilizes our economy. So we have these other things coming in that are building upon what's already been established.
In fact, that stabilized local economy has put us in with another ranking.
Yeah.
It ranked us very high on what's called the Gini Index. And the Gini Index actually ranks cities on how unequal and equal the wage opportunities are. And we are one of the highest ranking in all of the country. We're actually ranked 4th because our wages are stable and the discrepancy between low earners and high earners is low. And so we are really, really doing well on sustainable income and income that's a living wage here.
Yeah, it's really brilliant because we're bringing up the bottom half so that everybody can afford to live in our area, which is fantastic. I really love the fact that equality matters here and it shows up and how people get paid, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
What's interesting because of ranking so high and what that does to the economy is actually creates a great place for people who are moving here or who are already living here that want to build businesses. What's fantastic about that information is it really does help our economy be a place where people want to come and start businesses or considering moving their businesses into the area. So we are not stagnant at all. We're trying to move along and continue economic growth, and that really is happening. So let's dive into some of those details.
There are several reasons why businesses thrive here in Thurston County. And the first one is that it's cost effective compared to Seattle or Portland or the greater Seattle area, including the areas that you think of with tech. The expensive houses up there is 40% more than it is here. And of course, commercial space is even more. So to move a business here, you're actually gaining money and your profit line is changing quite a bit.
People who work for your company are going to be able to have an increased quality of life. So if you're thinking to yourself, you're an entrepreneur and you're considering starting a business, well, I think this is a great place for you to consider because of what Charity just mentioned, lower cost of living, lower cost of housing, which we're going to get into here in a minute, but also the increase of quality of life for those in whom you're employing. So it's a really great opportunity for you. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and considering where should I launch and start my next business, well, I really encourage you to consider this area because we're so much cheaper for West Coast City, definitely between Portland and Seattle and Kirkland, those surrounding areas. And the quality of life that your employees are going to experience is going to be so much higher in our region.
And quality of life is something that we always talk about in our videos because we get to experience it every day, from the greenery around us to the national park access to places that we can go hike, being on the water on the Puget Sound. So many amazing quality of life. There are so many ways to enjoy life here, and your employees and you, I'm sure, will enjoy them as well.
Now, on top of that, there is a wonderful organization that is designed specifically to help launch your business or get you growing in our area. And I'm not going to say the word because I'm dyslexic and I'm going to say it wrong, so Charity's going to.
It's the Thurston Economic Development Council and the Center for Business and Innovation. They partner to provide startup incubators, training, resources, and connections and networking for those who are starting business or have already started a business. And then what goes right along with that is we have a very active Chamber of Commerce here. It's not just like Betty Sue and Betty Lou got together and decided they would just, have a Chamber of Commerce in a small town. It is very active. They are always putting on events. They're always organizing ways to get people connected. They are always providing resources. They have so many things to offer to those who are in the business community here. And I know that you will find great support if you do move your business here or decide to start a business here.
When she said Betty Sue, all I could think about is Whoville and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who.
But Betty Sue seems
Betty
like
Sue.
should be related to Cindy Lou Who.
Yes, I think she is. There are also workforce development programs that are designed to help train employees in these new areas of industry moving into our area. And there's also great colleges in the community that help develop people for the next employees and innovators in our region. One of those, which is Evergreen State College, and we've talked about that on other places, about how beautiful the campus is. So if you're wanting to be about a beautiful area, there's a great one to be for sure.
And besides that, you've got South Puget Sound Community College, and nearby, of course, you've got Tacoma with all the colleges and universities that are there. Very good opportunity for workforce and skilled workers in the area.
With all this potential influx of growth and people moving into our area, the question becomes, how are we keeping up with that growth? And what type of infrastructure is there that's going to help move us along into the future?
That's a great question. Olympia has thought of this and has a plan set forth for continual growth. In fact, they're just finishing up the current report, which takes us into 2045. So 20 years in advance, they are planning. You can find a complete report on the City of Olympia website. Some of the things that they're tackling in this comprehensive plan is housing, urban growth, environmental impacts, transportation, parks, art and recreation, utilities, economy, public safety, capital growth issues, and then there's more. So go ahead and go on the website if you want to hear more information, but we are grateful that Olympia is looking forward to the future and making sure that we have everything that we need as we grow.
One of the big projects that they've been working on for the last couple years is the Capitol Mall Triangular Sub-Area. That is a mouthful for me to say. Perhaps you got it better. However, what they're doing with this is developing a mixed land use around that and then reclaiming some of that space and turning it into new developments. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes into fruition.
Yeah, we love to have more walkable areas. In fact, that is something that most people are looking for when they move to the area. Definitely mixed land use is something that we appreciate when it's being built into the area because we have a lot of people that move to the area and they want to have an option to have a walkable area. So I'm excited about this project as well. Another area area that I'm really excited about is the old Olympia Armory is being turned into an Olympia Creative Campus, which is amazing. You can go online and look at the plans and see what they're going to do, but they'll be developing all the exterior space around it. And then the Armory itself, which is a really cool 1920s building. And they're going to make space for classes and actually just space to make art and offices. And then outside there'll be gardens and all kinds of great space. And it really exemplifies the focus on arts that we have in the Olympia area, and I'm super excited to see what happens with it.
I've been driving by that building for years now and thinking to myself, what would be a cool use for that space? It never crossed my mind to do this, but I'm glad it crossed somebody else's and what they're going to do with it. It's really going to help our city just continually grow and become better. In addition to those elements, the Olympia Master Plan includes other things that are going to be important, and that is housing.
Yes, currently we do have a tight supply of housing in Olympia area. There is low inventory, as there is with much in the nation. Olympia is tackling this by opening up space for new land to be developed. I don't know if you know how this works, but generally there are areas of land that are classified for larger acreages, and nothing can be done with that until it gets reclassified. So Olympia is working on reclassifying some areas so that more housing developments can go in, which we are very excited about because it enables us to help our clients even better.
Part of the solution to the continual growth in our region and housing supply is something called ADU. So it's an accessory dwelling unit on your property. So certain lots that are large enough will be able to have these in the back. And it works for a couple things. Number one is it helps people that perhaps are getting taxed out of it, need a little extra revenue for living in, staying in their home, which I think is fantastic, as well as creating just basically more opportunities for people to be able to afford homes.
Yeah, so basically if you own a home, and you have the space, then you can build one of these on your property. You can use it as a rental. You can use it for somebody in your family, and it just increases the density. And this is something that we're starting to see happen just a little bit more as the regulations have changed, but we'll see it even more so. So if something like that will be important to you when you're buying a house, then we can help you find a lot that's going to work for a potential ADU.
If you would like to know more information about that, comment below ADU and we'll get more information sent to you.
So what can you expect if you do plan on relocating here? One thing that's important to know is that property values are going to increase and continue to go up. And we know that because we know that the area is growing, and we can track it by looking at history. So currently the housing prices in all of Thurston County, the average is $570,000. 5 years ago, that was $380,000.
Yeah, we've had a rapid growth, as many places in the country have over the last several years through COVID. And ours isn't one that kind of like peaked and then now is crashing. Actually, because of the limited supply, because people wanting to live in the area, it is continually to be stabilized and seeing growth year over year. So buying a home will continue to be a good investment in a couple different ways, of which I'm sure you already know, is stabilizes how much you pay on a monthly basis for your cost of living. And then of course, the long-term appreciation of your home and growing your assets and wealth.
Yeah. Thurston County actually had 3,600 people move to the area between 2023 and 2024. And if you're from a big city, you're probably thinking, that's not very many people. But in comparison to all of the counties in Washington, we're the sixth fastest growing. So 3,600 was quite a good chunk, and that was net. So with people moving out and people moving in, we've increased by that much. So as you can see, Joe just mentioned, the property values are going to continue to increase. It's going to be a good market for you to buy in. It's always a good time to buy real estate.
What does that mean for you? Well, I think it means that you should move here and that you should use us as realtors because we think you're amazing if you've listened to us this long.
So if you do think, hey, I actually do want to work with Joe and Charity, then we would love to talk with you too. We've made it so easy for you. You can call us, you can text us, you can click a link and jump on our calendar. Any way that works for you will work for us. We look forward to speaking with you.
Yeah, we're not very good at telepathy, so if that's your preferred form of communication, it's a little rough. You can shoot us a text, that might be a little bit easier.
That's right. So if this video was helpful for you, then you definitely want to keep watching. So check out our next video.